welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be filming how I got a 9 in maths. I was revising for maths. I didn't actually have a really good textbook to work from or like revision book. So the one the schools gave to us, because I was on EdXL, was this one, which is the Collins mathematic book. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't find it that helpful. Like, I looked through it to find like if I didn't get something. This had a very like small section on it. It didn't have much information, but it did have so like these were like the information pages, but it did have lots and lots of practice questions. And I did like the end past paper ones, and I did like a few of the ones in between, but overall I didn't really use this book. I also bought these other ones, which were, I don't have them anymore, but they were like thinner books, and I didn't really use them that much. I didn't find them that helpful, but you might find them more helpful than I did. And things that I did for maths was, again, make notes. So I had this huge folder here, which was like my maths revision folder. School basically told us to do these. So for some classes they were compulsory as like homework, but my teacher never did. She'd set a few compulsory. I got given these layouts for each topic, so they're subdivided. So this was like algebra and things like that. So it had each little bit for factorising brackets, factorising double brackets, substitution, using linear equations, quadratic graphs, and I had loads of these for each topic that was subdivided. Each subtopic I created like a quick poster on it. So for instance, this was inequalities, so I put them onto coloured backgrounds, and this was the inequalities one, so it had like just basically basic information. It had like maybe an example of it. I wrote an inverse proportion on one sheet of paper, and it just basically gives you an overview of it. So if you don't get something, I could have just gone to one of these. Histograms is on one of them, so the equation and example of a histogram question. And then for each poster I went on to Maths Watch. So I don't know if you have to pay for it, but my school offered Maths Watch clips. So for each one there was clips. So for vectors there was practice questions on them. So I did all of these and answered them and corrected them. Quality graphs, so I had the inequality graph notes here, and then the questions with the answers on the back here. So I had to do like a question, and they weren't necessarily hard questions, but they were varied. So this here is called a grade 7 question. So on Maths Watch they order them all, so they have vectors which are grade 7, or they have inequalities which are grade 4. I don't know. So they have all of them, and they tell you what grade they're worth, so you kind of know what level you're working at. Completing the square and difference of two squares on a bit of paper, and poster, and then I have like the questions to go alongside it. For every single topic, almost, like I kind of gave up, or like some of them were okay, so I didn't have to do it. I would tick if I'd done that topic, and then highlight it green, amber or red to see if I got it or didn't get it, so that I could focus on that later if I wanted to. I did like this whole folder of them, so you can see all the different types of coloured paper, which are the questions, and then the white paper would be the practice questions. So you can see I did do quite a fair amount. At the front of the book I had like stuff I was less certain of on at the front, and I took these out before my exam. As like before my maths exam, I took out ones that I was struggling with within that topic, and I quickly like was revising over these before I went into the exam. These had like equations on it as well that I was trying to remember before I went into the exam. Also set over the Easter, I think it was, they set loads and loads of Maths Watch clips. So I did more Maths Watch, and again I did this in a revision with me, and I showed how much I'd been doing, but I had all of these which are Maths Watch clips, so on pretty much all of the topics, and they'd laid out how much to do on each day, all of the different Maths Watch clips you could do, like clip 219 or something they would write, and it would cover all of the topics from grade 4 to grade 9 at the end. So as you were going along the days, it gave you harder questions. I had all of these Maths Watch clips, so on the front was the questions, and I double-sided to put the answers on the back. So I did all of those Maths Watch clips. Maths as well, I'm pretty sure I had more than this, but everything's a bit like jumbled. My school, again, a lot of my school actually provided a lot of resources for me, so every week they would give you a paper, and it like half a paper, and then the next week they'd give you the other half of the paper, and it was kind of like compulsory homework, but sometimes they didn't check it. It was kind of like your option to do it or not, but I actually found them really helpful. So I did all of these past papers, and again I'm pretty sure there were more, but we had like these maths ones, so like here GCSE like set 1A, and then like the next week it would be 1B. Like with maths, a lot of it is just practice and practice, so instead of just trying to remember things, I put it into practice, and then if I didn't know something I would try again, because I think a lot of the similar questions come up. In class, for instance, my teacher also started like doing revision in class, and she used these. I'm not sure what they are, but I think you can get them online, and it's kind of like this layout, and it's got all of the different types of questions in it, and I used to fill out these as well, with marks at the back. So we went through quite a few of those as well within class. So to my exams, my teachers set after school, they set maths lesson, like maths revision to help, which you did in like groups. So for instance, we got these bits of paper which had questions. We went away and got it and completed it in a big group, and then went back to our smaller group and shared how we did the questions. So we had quite a few of these. So all of the ones on coloured paper were ones that we did during those revision sessions into practice, and because my teachers were there, I was able to ask them if I didn't get anything. So I think that was probably like 2 or 3 revision sessions we did all of those in after school. So I would definitely recommend, if your school's offering anything, then go to it, because they know the type of questions that are quite familiar or people who find difficult. I basically just did loads and loads of practice questions, so they're more of the unit ones that I found. We wrote like key points on the back that people found difficult within the books. Similar to my science one, I made little posters of key points. So here is like a whole little section on fractions, or we've got like standard form on here, we've got recurring decimals to fractions, ratio, compound measures, transformations, powers and roots. Just got all of that information onto these sheets, and it just meant that everything was condensed in one place. So if I needed to find something or quickly revise one little topic, I could just go to these and find it. Things I did for maths was condensing everything onto bits of paper, and doing practice questions for them. I would just keep saying practice, 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 practice for maths. I actually quite enjoyed maths, so I didn't mind doing the practice questions. I think I kind of preferred doing that to like revising German. I preferred doing practice questions for maths. There's practice questions for maths, and then obviously I showed you the thing. So that was everything I did for maths. It's actually crazy looking back on it though, but I would honestly say if you're like a bit behind or like haven't got long, I would say just try and practice maths, because if you start getting familiar with questions, or if you find questions that you're harder with, then you'll practice them and then you'll just get better at them. That was everything I did for my maths revision. Comment down below if you found it helpful, and I'll see you next time. Bye!